By mid-century, the receiving cities of the Great Migration strained under the weight of millions of black Southerners trying to situate themselves as tens of thousands more alighted from Pontiacs and railroad platforms each week. In the spring of 1951, a colored bus driver and former Army captain named Harvey Clark and his wife, Janetta, faced an impossible living situation. In 1950, city aldermen and housing officials proposed restricting 13,000 new public housing units for people who had lived in Chicago for 2 years. The rule would presumably affect colored migrants and foreign immigrants alike, but it was the colored people who were having the most trouble finding housing. Harvey Clark was from Mississippi and brought his family to Chicago in 1949 after serving in World War II. Now that they were in the big city, the couple and their 2 children were crammed into half of a 2-room apartment. A family of 5 lived in the other half. Harvey Clark was paying $56 a month for the privilege, up to 50% more than tenants in white neighborhoods paid for the same amount of space. One-room tenement life didn't fit them at all. The husband and wife were college educated, well-mannered, and looked like movie stars. The father had saved up for a piano for his 8-year-old daughter with the ringlets down her back, but had no place to put it. He had high aspirations for their 6-year-old son, who was bright and whose dimples could have landed him in cereal commercials. The Clarks felt they had to get out. By May of 1951, they finally found the perfect apartment. It had 5 rooms, was clean and modern, was closer to the bus terminal, and cost only $60 a month. That came to $4 a month more for 5 times more space. It was just a block over the Chicago line at 6139 West 19th Street in the working-class suburb of Cicero. The Clarks couldn't believe their good fortune. Cicero was an all-white town on the southwest border of Chicago. It was known as a place Al Capone went to elude Chicago authorities back during Prohibition. The town was filled with first and second generation immigrants, Czechs, Slavs, Poles, Italians. Some had fled fascism and Stalinism, not unlike black people fleeing oppression in the South, and were still getting established in the New World. They lived in frame cottages and worked the factories and slaughterhouses. They were miles from the Black Belt, isolated from it, and bent on keeping their town as it was. The Clarks set the move-in date for the 3rd week of June. The moving truck arrived at 2:30 in the afternoon. White protesters met them as the couple tried to unload the truck. "Get out of Cicero," the protesters told them, "and don't come back." As the Clarks started to enter the building, the police stopped them at the door. The police took sides with the protesters and would not let the Clarks nor their furniture in. The Clarks did not let that deter them, but sued and won the right to occupy the apartment. They tried to move in again on July 11, 1951. This time, 100 Cicero housewives and grandmothers showed up to heckle them. The couple managed to get their furniture in, but as the day wore on, the crowds grew larger and more agitated. The mob stormed the apartment and threw the family's furniture out the 3rd floor window as the crowds cheered below. The neighbors burned the couple's marriage license and the children's baby pictures. They overturned the refrigerator and tore the stove and plumbing fixtures out the wall. They tore up the carpet. They shattered the mirrors. They bashed in the toilet bowl. They ripped out the radiators. They smashed the piano Clark had worked overtime to buy for his daughter. And when they were done, they set the whole pile of the family's belongings, now strewn on the ground below, on fire. The next day, a full-out riot was underway. The mob grew to 4,000 by early evening as teenagers got out of school. Husbands returned home from work, and all of them joined the housewives who had kept a day-long vigil in protest of the Clarks' arrival. They hurled rocks and bricks. They looted. Then they firebombed the whole building. The bombing gutted the 20-unit building and forced even the white tenants out. The rioters overturned police cars and threw stones at the firefighters who were trying to put out the blaze.